Do you already memorize first verses? Yes. Wow. Thomas.
Still working on it, Khenpo.
Work hard, okay. Lida.
I'm
Good.
still working on it too.
Lisa.
I'm
Girls.
still working on it too. I'm not good at memorizing.
I see. Bear, do you memorize, Bear? No yet?
Oh, I haven't.
Okay, so if you get memorize, it's really great. That helps, always with you, this text. Tara is always be with you if you memorize. Curtis, yes, right? Lisa is walking still, Lisa Lewis. Gabrielle, walking.
I'll work on it.
Okay, you're going to do, yeah?
Yeah.
David, yes, right? Abura David.
I'm still working on it, Khenpo.
Khenpo, in my case, I remember the concept and I can repeat part of the verse, but not completely. I'm still working to repeat it worldwide. But when I remember the main topic, it came to my mind, like you said, it's very powerful.
Yeah, the note, just I'm talking about the root text, memorize root text.
Yeah, root text, yeah, I know. No, root text, no.
Solid Sivanins. Do you have memorized root text first verses? No yet. Ger Percy, yes, right? Ger has I cannot see you, Ger Percy, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, French.
Yes.
You don't memorize, do you? Okay. Rick Henry.
I'm trying to.
Okay. Chong Wazini, I think he has. Tia, do you have memorized? Lily, Tia, Bing. 3 of them, no answer.
Me?
Yes.
Yes, I remembered.
That's great. How about Tia? Bing.
I'm driving, Khenpo, that's why you can't see me, but I'm sorry, I have not memorized it yet, but I'm working on it, sorry.
Okay. Okay, so that's great. Most still has memorized. Wonderful. So now we see, long as you have memorized this verses, then it's just mentally chant, and then Ram of Ambo, Mother the Dharma Tirtha. So really you can log into your mind nature. You can see yourself like self is not exist. Then that's reason. Then you recognize you are Tara. Tara is there. And that is the permanent happiness. And then you into your natural mind, free from all the fears. So you chant over and contemplate that verses again and again. It's really powerful, and you can release all the fears and the emotions. So then also you really recognize your mind nature. So that's verses help you, like it's an object, like kind of a support of him. We actually know, so we're talking about all the time, our mind nature is Buddha. But then when you read the text and sometimes you really meditate, you feel that kind of way, but then after you forget, not always like going into, habituate. So long as you have memorized these words, then you can lay down, you can walking and driving the car or wherever you are and like know with other people, wherever you are, just use these words, and it helps like into the nature, free from fears. It's really great. So that's also, as we have teachings here, so you can use 2 different ways. Follow the absolute truth way and the relative truth, which is like easy for you. You can go back and forth, use both ways. It's great. Today, So we're going to the second verses. Not realizing oneself is a Dharmakaya. The minds of sentient beings are overpowered by negative emotions. These beings wandering in samsara are my mother. So I supplicate Mother Tara, deity of great compassion, please protect us. And see, we go to the this commentary. When you chant these verses, see, you can use either auto level or inner level practice. So first I will explain the inner level practice. Root text say not realizing oneself is a Dharmakaya. So it's the first verses, first sentence. Means that you really look to your mind. Also, when you chant that, you have to not realizing oneself as a Dharmakaya, means like you look into your mind. So we have like always Buddha nature is always there. Actually, nature is there, but we not realize that self is a Dharmakaya. We don't recognize we are Buddha. So means that you really looked in your mind. You are seeing your nature mind. So that means like when you chant these verses and you look to in your mind, oh, I have a Buddha nature. I didn't realize that. So you look to your mind. That also helps you into the nature again. So you realize your own mind means you look into your mind, and when you release thoughts, and then you recognize your mind nature. Oh, I didn't see this nature from beginner's time and until now. I realized my nature when you chant. So when you didn't recognize this nature, the nature is always being with us. I'm beginner's time until now. Never separate with us this nature. This nature is always with us. But some reasons we didn't recognize. The why we don't recognize, so the due to the like is coming, emotions. Not realizing oneself as a Dharmakaya, you understand that, so far I didn't recognize the nature. My mind is always following delusion. So problem is a delusion. No, you just stop the delusion and log into your nature. Then you practice this prayer when you recognize that you have a Dharmakaya nature. When you recite minds of sentient beings overpowered by negative emotions. So we have that nature, but we didn't realize. The reason is all sentient beings, mind, the minds of sentient beings are overpowered by negative emotions. So you recognize how powerful these negative emotions. Then we also thinking about ourselves, oh, I have these negative emotions. So we can understand, recognize like actually our problem. Usually we don't understanding, recognize our own problem. So the problem is negative emotion. Negative emotion control us. That's the reason we don't realize our natural mind. We don't see our natural mind. We never be with it. Actually, we always have a natural mind inseparable with us all the time. But we never ever going into that nature, even one moment. Why? Because mind is influenced by negative emotions. So then we see recognize how powerful these negative emotions are. From beginning last time until now, negative emotions control us. This negative emotion control us. That's why we are stuck in samsara. So when we are controlled by negative emotions, we are not able to create virtue and merit. See, then negative emotion control, we always follow by negative emotion, create the causes of suffering. We don't create the causes of happiness. That is all sentient beings' problem. Then when you chant this, you recognize our own problem, and also you recognize other beings' problem too. So that's we recognize our own problem. We wanted to get rid of our own problem. we recognize others' problem. So then we really wanted to help them, kind of like, doesn't matter which kind of people, which kind of beings, we recognize everyone is negatively controlled, negative emotions controlled. Auto level, some is lots of great, but that is only temporary shows auto level. But actually, everyone, all sentient beings, the negative emotion control, no one free from that. You really realize it, recognize, understand that it comes with compassion to everyone. So not only someone suffering, right? So all the way, usually we say came to end of subject, everyone. Is we realize the same, or is these beings are emotion control. So you see that and arise compassion to others too. Then, so we are not able to create virtue and merit, and instead we create suffering in this life and the future life. Then you also see that all of these beings are controlled by negative emotion. These beings wandering in samsara are my mothers. So we see all these beings used to our mothers. These beings, my mother, means not talking about these beings, our present mother. So these beings used to our mothers, wandering samsara mothers. So you recognize that all these sentient beings have this dharmakaya nature. Then we know this dharmakaya nature is not only us. This dharmakaya nature is all these human beings has. This dharmakaya nature, all these animals has, all sentient beings have. That then so you understand that, and then just your compassion is not only like some not limited. Your compassion has become immeasurable for everyone. All the sentient beings arise to all the sentient beings. Then when you, so that's this reason why don't recognize it is due to negativity. That is why all these beings are suffering in samsara. So when you chant these verses, you truly recognize the suffering of sentient beings, and very strong compassion arises from your mind and heart. Through this compassion, you can connect with other sentient beings. Then when you chant these verses, contemplate, of course, first we have to listening, and then long as you have memorized, you mentally chant again these verses, and you first these verses are like recognize you have a dharmakaya nature. Then also recognize we are stuck in samsara because due to this our emotions, not only our and all these sentient beings, and arise compassion. You cultivate that again and again, become increasing our love and compassion to others, and also recognize our own nature. So the minds of sentient beings are overpowered by negative emotion. These beings wandering in samsara are my mothers. This recognize that all of these beings used to by my mother, but due to emotion, they endure endless suffering in samsara. When you recognize that strong love, compassion arises for all these beings, I supplicate Mother Tara, deity of great compassion, please protect us. So this supplication is followed by, and the outer level, inner level, or inner level is here is like talking about the compassion, because this verses is like main point is compassion. So where is the compassion arise? Compassion arise, you really understanding true nature, then absolute truth compassion or unconditional compassion is arise for others. So that's why it's wisdom is a cause, compassion is a result here. Wisdom go first, then wisdom go first means like you knows you have this Buddha nature and understanding we have all these negative emotions control us. That is wisdom, and then compassion arise. That compassion is like unconditional compassion arise for other beings. So then when we supplicate the Tara, you have a compassion. Please help us and all of these beings. That is the ultra level practice of supplication Tara. So when you chant these verses, we just can go follow either way, inner level, ultra level. And when we chant like, so first verses say, no realizing oneself is a Dharmakaya. So, oh, I didn't recognize I am Buddha. My mind is so much, like emotions, like I have so much emotions. So emotion control us. And then I am emotion control us. Not only me, all these beings emotion controlled. That's why we pray to Tara, ultra level Tara. So you have a compassion, you have a wisdom. Please help me, remove my emotions. And ultra level, you supplicating Tara. So that is like, say, we already talked up there too. The ultra level is more beginners. It's a great way to do that. And inner level means like you really understanding, you have this Buddha nature and emotion controlled. So then arise compassion. Compassion is become Tara. So ultra level, inner level, either way is correct. Depending, which way you like to use. Actually, you go back and forth is great, For inner level practice, you recognize that your mind is Buddha, and from beginningless time until we didn't recognize due to emotions. So now you realize, oh, I have this nature. You recognize this nature. Then you also recognize that all other beings have this same nature. But the problem is that other beings don't realize this nature because of emotions. The very strong compassion arises in your mind. That compassion is absolute truth, Tara, and is your own protection. So the compassion arises in your mind. Actually, that is the absolute truth, Tara. And when compassion arises to others, that is become absolute truth protection. So ultra level protection, inner level protection, usually we talk about protections, right? The generally people want protection is ultra level protections. Where is this ultra level protections come from? Actually, ultra level protection come from inner level qualities. Means who has a compassion. The person create something for protection. That is the power of compassion. Like who has a compassion, that person like chant the mantra and make something protections. They can get something like create blessing things. That also have a power. The compassion power remove the other obstacles, and also like some ultra level obstacle cannot penetrate. Long as you have that something ultra level protection is come from the who has compassion, who created that. So then long as you have a compassion, that's no caution. This ultra level protection also come from this things, like we create protections also who has a compassion they create. So then long as you have a compassion, so that is absolute truth, the compassion. This other obstacle beings seeing you Tara, seeing you Chinrezek, they cannot create create obstacles to you. So then that's the reason. This is the absolute truth of protection, compassion is. So why these beings have problems? Why they create obstacles for others? Because they're due to their emotion, due to their selfish jealousy, all this emotion control them. That's why they created the obstacle for others, harming for others, other beings. So long as you have a compassion, then there cannot harm to anyone others, because the power of a compassion, so also naturally the power of a compassion, not only your protection yourself, the compassion helps for them too. So you can release their emotion too. That's why it's the absolute Tara is become compassion. So we have to meditate that way, when you chant this supplication versus supplication Tara, the main point is just you, when chant that, log to your mind, and also you have to log to your mind and meditate. Then also sometimes log to your mind, recognize, or I didn't recognize this nature because due to my emotions. So when you also emotion arise, when you chant this prayer, supplication, this verses is like you recognize right away, oh, I have emotion. My mind is like say so it's my mind of sentient beings are overpowered by negative emotions. You right away recognize that. So that is the pit instruction. Called pit instruction means when we have a problem, something directly shows that problem, not indirectly, directly pointing to that problem, recognize. So that's called pit instruction. So this is pit instruction. Yeah. So then you recognize that, and then you see we have this problem. You recognize our emotions problem. Then you also see other also has that being's problem. So arise compassion ourselves, compassion to others too. So then, same time, you can auto level supplication to Tara. So we think about where we get like this emotion control us, we recognize that. Then someone free from emotions, naturally devotion arises to them. And then see, like we recognize, oh, Tara has immeasurable love, compassion. So Tara can help me. So you recognize right away, you see your protection there. Auto level protection, you see that, you refuge, just take refuge to Tara, ask protection, protect me, Tara, please protect me, help me. And I have these emotions, problems, you remove my problem, emotions. So you visualize and the Tara and mind resting, then that time is like all emotions are going to release. The auto level where you can release, on inner level where, of course, like arise compassion to you, us, arise compassion. So that verses, then we're going to contemplate, meditate. So now you chant, close eye, and if you don't have memorized, just look the root text and cultivate, meditate. So that's become, we have to habituate. And this is verses, like long as you habituate, then you can practice all the time. So the Tara is become always with you all the time. This protection is. So now we're going to meditate, contemplate together. So you can follow verses, read and contemplate, meditate, you know, then look to your mind, your recognize your problems and create compassion for others. So we're going to focus these verses. Wake up. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so now discussion. Any has questions? Discussion? Short teaching, meditation, discussion. Tonight program is.
Khenpo, I have a question.
Yes.
The emotion, what's the difference between emotion and ignorance and emotion and compassion? Ignorance is an emotion. Is a compassion is an emotion?
So ignorance is actually the not recognize, not knowing what is the truth, what is right, what is wrong, not knowing. Ignorance means. Yeah. So then actually all these emotions based on the ignorant. So
Yes. Including the ignorance.
the based on the means like long as we have ignorance, then all the emotions arise comes. So,
Okay, that's a cause.
kind of a cause. So the ignorance causes is ignorance is the causes of all the negativity.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Then compassion is we cannot say emotion, but sometimes you can say like positive emotion. You know, some people has compassion, but fear is like kind of some want to have and do some good, and the compassion comes, but then same time also like kind of like fear bad and cry. You know, so that is the compassion, but it's kind of like emotion, but it's positive emotion. You can say positive. Yeah. It's not negative.
Okay.
Yeah. They actually this kind what right we just share here is a compassion is called unconditional compassion. It's not emotional compassion, not any emotion there.
Is that equal to great compassion? The great compassion is the
You
or
can say compassion, yes.
okay. So you say the wisdom is the cause and the compassion is the result. So that compassion will be the unconditional, right? Unconditional compassion, the great
Yes.
compassion.
Yes.
Okay.
So wisdom go first, then compassion arises, unconditional compassion.
Okay.
And
So
usually love cause, compassion result. Compassion is a cause, bodhicitta result. Bodhicitta cause, wisdom is the result.
okay.
But meditators not always go that way. You know, when we share the teaching, actually follow that way. But when you meditate, it means like you realize your natural mind, then arise compassion for others. So you recognize your own these emotions, problems, then so you can use this absolute truth like wisdom practicing, and then you see the emotion is not really existed there. That's then you arise compassion for others is called unconditional compassion. And so that kind of like unconditional compassion. So when you meditate, example, when you meditate, you look really into your nature, mind, and you are into that nature state, you know, like you become joy, peace, you have truth, happiness, and so you free from fears, emotions. Then that time you see other beings like, you know, so arise compassion to them because you recognize every being has this truth nature, but they don't realize the truth nature due to the emotions. Then arise compassion others is called truth compassion. unconditional compassion. That is very powerful, the actually highest level compassion.
Mm.
Mm,
Okay, thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Paula, we have to control all emotions, negative and positive emotions too. Yes?
Positive emotion sometimes you need. So beginners need a positive emotion. Yeah, and that helps, you know, you get more effort to do some great things. Use that. Then you get really good level practicing, go up level, I think, then free from this also positive emotion too. Mm.
Is happiness considered an emotion too? When people feel happy, is
Yes.
that an emotion?
Yeah, it's emotion, yes.
Thank you.
Emotion means like just happy feeling, right? And the weak, how to say that happy has like different kind of happy, yeah. So when you meditate, like arise happy in your mind, then that is positive, yeah. But you get something, you so happy, you exciting is different. That is like not really, you know, we can say the this kind of a compassion here is like happiness. That's just temporary happiness. We can say temporary happiness, but it's also called can be emotion, you know, can be emotion, just can be something like happy, or can be causes of suffering. So many different kind there, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
If I may,
Go ahead.
thank you. So my question is, when you get to a point where all emotions are very subtle, what is a practice that helps through the day without having to sit in meditation, if you will? Something you can use to bring the subtleties under a firmer rein, if you will. Does that make sense?
Didn't get it, sorry about it. Can you say again?
So when you get to a point where the emotions are very subtle, whether negative or positive, but are very subtle.
So you mean that when you meditate, like positive and negative is very subtle, you mean?
No, at all times.
Uh,
Very subtle. So I have 3 children, and I cannot always sit and meditate to gain a stronger control over them because they're so subtle. They're harder to catch. Does that make sense?
not really, sorry about. Who understand, who get?
Maybe I'll ask this weekend. Try to explain this weekend if I get to come. Thank you.
Mary, can you explain?
Do you mean it's harder for you to recognize your subtle emotions?
Yes, because they're so very subtle.
They're
at this
too
point.
quick or something?
Just very, very subtle.
So it's hard for her to know exactly what her emotions are because they're very subtle and very
Calm, right?
Fleeting. Yes, fleeting, calm, and subtle. Yes, thank you.
So that means actually you don't have like grossly emotions, right? That time.
The process has gone so very fast that there are occasions where I can, but it's few and far between most of the time. It's very, very subtle.
So the ordinary people, usually everyone has this subtle level emotions always there. So that is like see the best on the ignorance, and then self. Long as we have a self, see then that's all these emotions in there, subtle level, always there. So that's why easy to arise. It's a condition comes. So if no conditions, then that subtle level is always there. So that's the reason we don't recognize true nature. Even we don't have emotions, but we don't recognize true nature because still this subtle level obscuration is there.
I stay very mindful at all times, like moment to moment. And they've become like emotions and thoughts have become so subtle. And because I stay mindful moment to moment, literally moment to moment, it's like the thoughts and emotions have become so subtle that it's hard to recognize they're there and I'm elsewhere.
But
So
we don't recognize we have, because it's a subtle means like you don't see you have. We don't recognize, right? And then you think about we read these verses like today we're talking about in the realm of unborn mother means like then the emotions based on the self. So self is not born, self is not exist. You chant these verses, then really hit these subtle level emotions.
good.
Yeah.
Yes.
So usually subtle level emotions are there, but we just don't try to get rid of that, right? It's there. So you chant these prayers, like think about then in the realm of the unborn mother means like really into the nature. That time you just kind of removing these subtle level emotions. So that is the practice. Meditate.
Thank you.
Okay, so then Lisa, yes, you have a question, right?
No, I think I'm okay, Khenpo, because I was really just thinking about what came into my head was let there be emptiness in your happiness. But if there's emptiness in the happiness, we're not on the absolute truth level then, because on the absolute truth level, there is no emptiness and there is no happiness, right?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
No birth, no death. No right, no left. Yes. Then, so contemplate, help you to mind connect with the nature.
Yes, I had a question, Khenpo, about the last line of the first verse and the last line of this verse, where it says in the first verse, it talks about protecting us from all fears. And in this verse, it says, supplicate Mother Tara, deity of great compassion, please protect us. And so could you explain that a little bit more? Like one, it's protecting us against fear. So we're recognizing the nature of mind through understanding the nature of mind, then we are naturally protected from all fears. And then in the second verse, through as compassion arises, then that's our natural protection then. Is that the understanding of how those would work?
So this both are just different aspects, yeah. Actually, same, yeah. Same different aspects.
I see. Okay, that helps. That's exactly. I understand. Okay, thank you.
So your mind is into the nature, Dharma Dhatu, and then you don't have any fears. All fear is gone. Fear cannot be in there. So usually fear, where is fear is arise because due to delusion. So your mind is into the nature, no delusions, and cannot have any fears. That is a protection. And that is like realize the true nature protection, yeah. Then another is a compassion. So when you realize the true nature, then arise compassion for others. Then another anger aspect is become compassion is your protection. So that is like inner level become two protections there. Outer level just two taras, like you Tara, please help me free from fears. I have lots of fear, please help me. Because you have already free from fears. So we realize Tara is free from fears. We have so much fears. We are so much going on ourselves problems due to selfish and emotions. Then we ask pray to Tara. So you visualize the Tara. So ask Tara, please help me. So then that also auto level supplication Tara, yeah.
Okay, thank
you. The Tara and think that way, meditate. That also helps release fears. But the highest level protection is go into your own nature. So your own nature is absolute true Tara. So you are into that nature state, then free from fears too. So actually, auto level Tara helps you. The fear is settled down. Inner level really remove the fears. So auto level is easy to do because like even someone don't know how to meditate absolute true dharma dharma, yeah, even they don't recognize that nature, but still you long as you have a devotion, so then you know so Buddha means like free from fears, free from obstacles. So we know Buddha has wisdom, compassion, and the power. Then look to ourselves, we have these fears, emotions, ask please help Buddha, take refuge to Buddha, ask help Buddha. So that's the outer level, take refuge. And inner level, take refuge, actually you realize your own nature, you are your own protector. That is absolute truth refuge. Called absolute truth protection. So then same thing, other one also like Tara has compassion, please help me, right? Outer level, taking refuge, supplication to Tara. Inner level, long as compassion arises your mind, the compassion is also the unconditional compassion arises in your mind. That is the absolute truth protection. That is absolute truth refuge. So long as you have that compassion, then you are become Buddha. Okay, so then
Khenpo, could you define contemplate? Contemplate, like I think of that as analyze, like more like analytical meditation where you're thinking. Contemplate more like being in presence.
Yeah, contemplation is so just analytical meditation, but also helps to into the resting mind too. So example here, in the realm of Ambon, the mother Dharma Dharma. So first you have to think about these words, right? In the realm of Ambon Mother Dharma Data means like then you think about that word's meaning. It's contemplating. So then the Dharma Dharma, then you're into the nature and resting. So it's resting meditation. So example means I just usually chant these verses like mentally first contemplate and then become minds more settled down, more calm down, and then into the resting mind. So then if thoughts comes, are going to contemplate again. So then that's try to contemplate, that helps go where thoughts, then go into again resting. So use like example, all this, the first verses only you can do like monthly practicing. Use those words. But then of course like you can do contemplate this first verses and then go to second verses, third verses, or finish you can go back to again beginning and meditate also. Either way is okay, yeah. So we have to habituate, to create that habituate. Like when you chant in the realm of Ambo Mother Dhamma Data, like that often you contemplate, meditate. When you chant that verses, like then easily go into the that direction, because you have something like habituate already, yeah. So same is like you drive every day, same road, so easy, right? So like that become you used to, and so when you chant these verses, like really easy to helps your mind is cultivating, contemplating, and then easy to go into the resting. So we have to habituate, I think, more. Yeah, so then anyone has a question?
Khenpo,
Yes.
I'm just curious that in the second verse, the last line, it says, "I supplicate Mother Tara deity of great compassion." There's an extra word deity here, comparing to other verses. Is this any special meaning for this deity, or it's just the translation differently?
This is Tara, deity, or same.
Okay, so because other verses only say Mother Tara of Mother Tara of Dhammadhatu, Mother Tara of perfect wisdom. So there is no deity. I just curious on that. It's
Okay,
like
deity is okay. Just deity means Tara, Tara means deity.
Tara.
Yeah.
Okay. But why this one has extra? Is that any, special point here?
It's sometimes like people, Tara is, they don't think it's a deity. So that think Tara is something different. And we put deity means like actually all the Buddha is a deity.
Uh-huh. Okay, so if my contemplation missing this word, then that should be fine. It's just the same meaning. It's just something. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
So this one has the extra words of great compassion. That's why we put in the like what you call practice, right?
Great. Yeah, but the first one
that's a word is not exactly in the root text, but I put this extra here, the of great compassion. The reason is this each verses has different aspects, the meaning, and this verses is the main point is compassion.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why it's in the practice.
Okay, so like a deity is more related to compassion. This, can I understand in that way? So
This
like
is more related to the compassion.
sort of, yeah. Okay. Yeah, just to help memorize that.
Point is the compassion. You know, that whole section, you know, main point is when you chant that section, so compassion arises.
Yes.
Yeah, compassion comes to us, compassion comes for others. Means arise, like you also can create your own self-compassion because you see we are so much suffering, many lifetimes stuck in samsara. Why? Because with this emotion, you know, then you also have a compassion yourself. So then of course that comes compassion others, the same others also stuck with us, the same thing. So when you chant these verses, like see, I have emotion. Oh yeah, is he? Everyone has emotion. We recognize that. Then we know I have emotion. That's create me, you know, problem, control, so much fears, suffering. Oh yeah, everyone has these emotions, suffering. Then you really arise compassion for yourself and for others too.
But at this level, the bodhicitta is not the arise yet, right? So because bodhicitta will have help others. In order to help others, have to set your goal to.
So yeah, this like just you know, when you practice meditate, like which kind of, you know, like in the inner level quality arise. Compassion is, it can be bodhicitta, can be love, can be compassion, all is there, you know, just depending like individuals. Like you meditate, which is arise your mind. So compassion, bodhicitta, love, the all point is the same there. Main point is the same together.
Khenpo, hi.
Yes.
The Tibetan, of course, is ancient. Is the English translation, is it strictly yours, or did you work with prior translation very much?
I didn't understand.
The English translation, did you create that yourself, or did you work off another text? I'm just wondering where the English translation came from.
This English translation come from the, mostly is the root text is come from this book.
But did you write the English, or did you get it from somewhere else?
We did translate our own translation.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you have this book, do you?
Yes, I not handy, but I'm familiar with it.
Okay.
I just didn't know if you translated it or not.
Yeah, so this book is a translation by Vanessa Taylor or something. She followed by this the commentary and the translate the root text.
Khenpo, what is that book? What is the book?
The book is this is the same thing. Supplication Tara's commentary.
What is it? I couldn't see the name. It's very dark.
Yeah, so we have this book in the Dhamma Center. You can order.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Got it.
We have
Thank
two
you.
different kind. You know, one is white in this color, one is black. So we have
Both
two.
are the same? The same or different?
It's the same. Like color, the cover is two different covers.
Oh, okay.
It's generally same, but it's in the theater is one is black writing, one is white writing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Thank you.
This is more explain, more detail. So it's harder, you know, not like simple like this right now. We're sharing in this, the Amanda did the transcription. So in this book, then talk about, today we're talking about here is like the obscuration, right? sentient beings are overpowered by negative emotion. Then we explain what it means negative emotion. Where is negative emotion come from? How many different kind of negative emotion? So what they need different solutions. Then got more details.
Khenpo, can I ask a question?
Khenpo. So if I realize myself as Dharmakaya, then I realize myself as Tara, that has great compassion. Is that Dharmakaya that abides in the Dharmadhatu?
Dhammadhatu is a Dhammakaya. Dhammakaya is a Dhammadhatu. Actually, kind of same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is in finally when one realizes there are no more words. This is just we're talking relative truth here only. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Someone has a question, right? I didn't hear clearly.
Yes, I was wondering if I could ask, is there a difference between a Yidam deity like White Tara and a Buddha?
Yidam deity means generally words. So then Buddha and Tara means like Buddha Shakyamuni, Tara medicine Buddha. Then it's go followed by specific words. Specific. Who asked this question? Do you get or no?
Paulo, I didn't.
Paulo.
Yeah, and I didn't understand your answer either. Well, maybe everybody else did. I did not understand it.
You didn't understand?
No.
So question is, can you say again then? Maybe I didn't hear clearly question.
Paulo asked what's the difference between a Yidam deity and Tara, right?
Yeah, so I give it the answer is Tara means a specific name. Yidam deity means generally name, so many there.
Khenpo, I was asking more specifically, is there a difference in the realization of White Tara, a Yidam deity, and a Buddha?
I didn't understand that. Can you say again?
Is White Tara, is she a Buddha as well as a Yidam deity?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, she's a Yidam deity, she's a Buddha, yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So then we're going to do the dedication. So homework, memorize again, continually verses. Chant verses, contemplate. So then you become more habitual to connections. Okay, so Maho, in the center is marvelous Buddha Amitabha of boundless light. On the right side is the Lord of great compassion, and on the left is Vajrapani, the Lord of powerful means. All are surrounded by limitless Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Immeasurable peace and happiness is the blissful purling of Devachi. When our beings pass from samsara, may we be born without taking samsara rebirth. May I have the blessing of meeting Amitabha face to face, by the power of the blessing of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions. May we attain this aspiration without hindrance. Tiyata Pinsandaya, our Bodhanaya Soha. Bodhicitta, the excellent precious mind, where it is humble, may it arise, where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. By this virtue, may I achieve omniscience. By defeating all enemies, confusion. May all who traverse on the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara. As Minjeshiri, they realize the automatic state, and as did Samandabhada, I will follow in the path and fully dedicate all the merit for all sentient beings. May the teachings of the great Gomparana Shiri, who is omniscient Lord of Dharma, master of interdependence, continue to increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation at the end of the samsara. Thank you, everyone.
Khenpo,
Oh, thank you very
Yes,
Thank
good
you so much,
evening.
Khenpo. Good evening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Khenpo, did you say to not say them around other people though?
What?
The mantra,
Which one?
the supplications to Tara. Did you say not to say it around other people?
No say for means.
Not speak it around other people where they can hear you, because I've done that before.
So you mean the no speak to others? Which way?
No, like there was a time when I was in the doctor's office and Gerchen Rinpoche was giving an empowerment and I had my phone on and I was saying all the words of the empowerment and doing the mantra over and over. But I say these supplications to Tara around people who are my friends and my family, but they don't mind it.
Then they don't mind, it's okay.
Okay, but not to say it to people you don't know.
Long as you're not making uncomfortable others, then that's okay.
No, I don't. That's one thing I make sure I don't do is because they can't, like in the doctor's office, they couldn't hear me anyhow.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think too, Lisa, were you asking if it's okay to say this in front of other people as long as they don't mind, or it's not to be said at all? Was that true?
Yes, actually, it always have different situations, you know.
Okay.
Some is okay, but some is not great. You just have to know, like your mind for recognize, like no other uncomfortable, no happy, then don't do. And then otherwise, like you can do, you know, you can do the mentally anyway.
Yes, I do that too.
Yeah, mentally is more powerful.
Okay, thank you, Khenpo.
Yes, you're welcome.
Good question.
Bye, everyone. Good evening. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Tomorrow.